Thank you very much. Please confirm if you see the presentation correctly.
Yes, we can see your presentation. It's all good.
Great, thank you. So, warm welcome this late morning today. My name is Reelika Rätsep, and I'm working at the Estonian University of Life Sciences, to be more precise, at Polli Horticultural Research Center in Estonia. And I'm a researcher on the biochemical composition of fruits and berries. And today I'm trying to give you a short overview about plant-based biomass, how it occurs, how we can use it, and what are the possibilities to make innovation with it. So I hope you like the journey. So if we talk about the biomass, what do we mean when we say biomass? So in general, it's plants, animals, and microbes in one ecosystem. So all the living organisms that we know of. Now, in this context that we are here today, we mean the plant-based biomass. And in these terms, we mean the edible and inedible plant parts. So this means that we talk about the primary produce losses. For example, these kind of plant parts that come from the production, which are edible, going for marketing, or non-edible that are, for example, maybe damaged crop left on the farm, abundant products which are not accepted by the consumers, with the product loss that comes from the harvest inefficiency, pruning waste, every kind of post-harvest waste. Then we go to the processing and distribution part, where we have actually a big problem with the standardized fruits and different kind of vegetable products. So they need to apply for the standards, and if they are not, then they are discarded because they are not round enough, not long enough, not colored enough. So that causes the losses in the production chain. And of course, the damages during the transportation, different cut-offs during processing, skins, seeds, and pomace that comes mainly from the juice processing, beverage production, and different manufacturing processes. And therefore, we are going to explore what could be done with this kind of plant-based biomass. So if we look at the hierarchy of valorization, then we know that nowadays the landfill is the last option that we should use when considering the wastes. So the composting is the second one with the least efficiency. And if we look at this pyramid here, we can see that we should start from the resource reduction. That means that we should try to produce in a way that this kind of wastes occur less and less. So we try to optimize our production, optimize our processing technologies. And the next step would be, if still we have some food losses or some surplus of resources, then we should use it as food ingredients, different kind of processing technologies for making it edible or addable to different fruit products. And then if we can't do anything about the products to the humans, then we can use it for the animal feed. So the hierarchy goes from human to animals and to industry and composting. Now, if we take a look more closer to the biomass wastes, then we can distinguish many technologies that can be used. So there are physical, chemical, biochemical, biological technologies that we can use. And from that, we can obtain high value-added industrial products. And the most common groups that we can see here are the organic acids and chemicals, the cosmetics and fragrances, bioplastics, alcohols, and also fuels and energy. So when we look into the processing strategies that we could use for the biomass valorization, then we need to choose the strategy in relation to the purpose that we want to use this material for. And we need to calculate the cost efficiency, and we need to take into account the characteristics of the material that we are using. Does it need pre-processing? We need to collect it, we need to sort it, clean it. It depends on the material, if it's a pure single solid waste or is it mixed waste, because if it has many different fractions and many different kind of plant materials in it, it needs sorting, and it's a lot more complicated way of doing things. So we need to also go for size reduction, maybe homogenization, heat treatment in order to preserve and storage, in order to make it safe for the using. We may use the fermentation technologies to give the added value to extract compounds from the material. And we can use different extraction technologies to have the special ingredients from the materials. Then there are the integrated processing technologies. So for preserving and storage, we may need to dry the material, process it for a long storage to keep it in high quality and safety. And as I told already, we can use the fermentation technologies in order to have the value-added products, or to prepare the materials that we can use them further. And finally, the separation, extraction, and concentrations. So this is for the very special ingredients that we could use for different purposes. Now, a short insight of what kind of valuable resources we are talking about. So the plant-based material potential has been estimated high, because billions of tons of waste is occurred every year. So it may be the woody material, it may be the different kind of mixed waste, vegetable peels, and mostly when we talk about valorization in terms of food industry, then we usually mean the peels, the pomace, and seed fractions of different processing byproducts. So from these materials, we can obtain the primary and secondary metabolites from the plants that are mostly the bioactive compounds that we can use in different food products. So here's a big and confusing figure, how many possibilities actually are for the valuable compounds. So we can see that how many different compounds with different characteristics we can extract from different materials. And we can use different technologies to treat the material to get the other inputs to the final product development. So we can extract pectin for food industry. We can extract starch, different waxes, sugars, hemicellulose, whatever it can be extracted for different types of wastes and byproducts. And we can do from these different kind of materials, chemicals, and other stuff. And the advantage and the challenge at the same time is that there is a wide spectrum of compounds, but they are found in different fractions of the raw material. That means that we need to consider very carefully what kind of material we are treating, what would we like to do with it, and is it feasible and cost efficient to do at all. If we look at the hierarchy of the product value, then from the bottom, we can see that, for example, in case of food products, the raw material actually is the cheapest usually for, if we talk about, for example, fruits, vegetables, this kind of freshly sold products. Then the most common product are juices. So if the juices are made, the pomace and different materials and byproducts occur. But if we go upwards from the triangle, we can see that next comes the canned goods, concentrates, dried goods, snacks, food supplements, and finally medicals. So we can see that the smaller the amounts, the higher the prices. So this is what needs to be considered when we think about our raw material that we want to valorize. If our amounts of this biomass are enough for the products that we want to achieve. So if we take a look at the next figure on the right, we can see that we can have different kinds of powders, flakes, granules, pellets from fiber-rich, polyphenol-rich ingredients. We can add them to different food additives or different snacks, dried goods. Then the next very big group is functional foods. So we can add different powders or ingredients into pasta, bakery products, confectionery, desserts, or we can make every kind of functional supplements. And if there are some very specific compounds that we would like to extract from different materials, then we can go for polyphenols, antioxidants, flavors, colors, proteins, lipids, carbohydrates, fibers. So it depends on the characteristics of our valorizable material. Here are some practical examples. So these pictures and this slide is made by my colleague Uko Pleive, who has been researching very thoroughly the apple pomace and its valorization. So we can see from the left down that from the apple pomace we can have different kind of fractions of peel and seeds. So it depends on which fraction we want to use. We can select them and use them. The seeds are very good for pressing seed oil. So depending on the material, the seed oil recovery can be very different, but in many cases we know the successful stories about the raspberry seed oil, which is on the market already. I know sea buckthorn seed oil and different many more. Also from the pomace, it can be made different beverages with or without the fermentation. We can make every kind of drinks out of it. We can use the pomace powders in bakery products or even also in meat or dairy products to add fibers or colorants, natural colorants, or the other characteristics we would like to have. Then also we can use these fiber-rich materials for the compression folding. So for making different kind of materials for flower pots or whatever we can imagine. Then we can use them in combination with different other fruits and berries. So we can mix the antioxidant-rich blackcurrant extract with the apple pomace fiber. So we can have 2-in-1, for example, in some products. And also in the example of apple, we can see that we can extract the raw pectin from the material, and we can also dry the pectin, and this can be used in food industry as well. So depending on the material, we can have very many solutions for the food products, for the food supplements, for different kind of purposes. Now, another very large industry is the natural pigments in plants. So from the figure, I have put here the different natural pigments. One are the water-soluble pigments, and the others are lipid-soluble pigments. So you can see that we can find different natural pigments in plants, and of course, definitely you have experienced the coloring effect of beetroot for your fingers or whatever. So these pigments can be used very successfully in the food industry, in the cosmetics, in the pharmaceuticals. It just needs to be thought about that which kind of pigment you would like to use. Is it easy to extract, and if it can be used in different products. Also, maybe one disadvantage of the natural pigments are that they are not very stable. So we need to take into consideration that all that is natural is more unstable. But it doesn't mean that we can't use them. So because nobody wants to have electric yellow or electric blue artificial colors in their food. So we would like to use more natural, different natural pigments. Now, when we take the more large scale of how to use the agricultural solid waste, if we have a vast amounts of biomass, then we can use them in different purposes. And here are some examples of, we can use them in the industrial production, animal feed, biosorbents, soil improvement, and plant growth. So we can use them for the making the different kind of fertilizers, different kind of soil amendments. For the animal feed, we can use them for making some feed additions, for example, rich in antioxidants or other compounds that are needed for the animal welfare. And depending on the type of the material, we can choose different valorization methods. Here is one example of how leaves, shoots, and pomace could be used for animal feed. So this is an example of one of my ongoing projects where we are making effort to use the harvesting residues of sea buckthorn to be used in horse feed supplements. So all the biomass, all the materials then that otherwise will be left in the plantations or left aside, we can use them and valorize them. So this goes for every kind of plant material where we know that there are bioactive compounds in it. So in conclusion, just to remind that the plant-based biomass is a valuable resource and we can use them for different purposes. We just need to know what is the quality of our raw material, what is the composition of our raw material, is it safe, is it feasible to use it for different products? Do we want to use it for food or food ingredients, animal feed, cosmetics, medicine, agrochemicals and materials, industrial chemicals and materials, biofuels, or some other purposes? So I think this is the final agenda of this hackathon as well, to keep you all thinking about what to do with the tomato byproducts and waste. So this is all from my side. If you have any questions, thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Reelika, for your very interesting presentation. Now it's time to ask a question from Reelika, because we have enough time as well for questions and some answers. I know my colleague Svea had one question yesterday, so maybe feel free to ask it now.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, hello. It was very interesting to hear what can be done with the vast amount of biomass that is left in fruit and agriculture industry. But we had actually this question, are there any legal constraints or restrictions in using this kind of biomass for animal or human consumption?
Yes, of course, there are quite strict legal restrictions depending on the material. For example, if you want to use some materials for food that have not been used for food before, then you go under the novel food, and you have to go through quite a long way of bureaucracy to get it certified and to get it into the food products. So there are many different legislational aspects. So yes, before using the material, one should take a closer look and get to know the legislation as well. Yes. And this, what I described today, it's not exhaustive. There are a lot of more possibilities, a lot of more technologies, everything, just some insight.
Thank you.
Approximately, what is the timeline? Do you know? Is it like 10 years less for the novel food?
No, I think it's less. It's just need to be researched and investigated, and to prove the safety for the food products. So not 10 years, less, I think.
I think actually IO is going through that process at the moment. So it's been a couple of years, I think, and they still haven't got it. But I think it will set the ground for other novel companies as well. If they get the novel foods certificate, then it's going to be easier for the followers.
Yeah, it depends on the material, I think, how complicated it is.
Do we have more questions?
Hello. Could you say again, please, how much room for improvement do you see in this area in Estonia?
Excuse me, I couldn't hear you very well.
How much room for improvement do you see in Estonia in this area?
Well, I think we are quite in a baby shoes. We see a lot of startups, a lot of spin-offs working with it, and I think Estonian people are not too eager to try new things, to go for the novel foods, to go for the new products. So we have a long way to go, but we have started it already, and I think we are good at it. We have a lot of good examples already that are expanding to abroad as well. So.
But do you think more fruitful is approach to do something with big producers, or do you think working with small producers is also important?
I think both, because actually it doesn't matter if a producer is big or small, they have to go for the same legislation, the same demand from the government. They have to be green, they have to be sustainable, they have to do every kind of improvements in their production. So it's easier for the bigger companies, but the small ones are also very good, and they can more go for the niche products because their production is smaller. But I think they're competitive.
Or is it costly for the company as well to start doing the progress or process?
Yes, I think it's quite costly.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, I said that it should be carefully considered if it's feasible, if it's doable, and maybe start with in cooperation with some bigger companies, or do a very proper homework how to reach this process and how to go for it.
I heard you mentioned biomass and general agricultural waste, but is there any other niches perhaps that we haven't discovered yet?
I think there are every kind of imaginable and non-imaginable ways to use the biomass. So the most popular or the most used at the moment are, for example, if we talk about the fruit processing byproducts, there are the different kind of powders and such easy products, which are easy to manage and maybe easy to sell. But when we talk about more complicated products or isolating some compounds, specific compounds, then it's very costly and very long process. So it depends.
But would you say the incubation centers near universities, do they help in this area a lot or not so much yet?
They're trying more and more. I think we have quite many incubation centers, and they contact with the universities as well, and they're trying to do more and more in order not to scare away the companies to the abroad incubation centers, but to keep them, the young minds, the bright minds, and the good products in our economical system.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have more questions, and we can continue with our agenda. Seems that at the moment we don't have any questions, so thank you so much, Reelika.
Thank you. And
now we have next presenter, Mariliis, who is co-founder at Raw Edge. So the microphone is now yours.
Super. I will see if I can now share. My computer is super slow. So, do you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
That is great. It's actually interesting that I've been doing so many 3-minute pitches lately, so that 20 minutes to share our stories like a real bliss. So true, my name is Mariliis Mia and I'm a co-founder of Raw Edge. And actually, as you struggled with the name, this is something that I often get asked, why the name and what does it mean and why is it so hard to pronounce? I don't think it's hard to pronounce, but there is a really big story behind that. And I'm going to start with that. So actually Raw Edge name come from hardcore punk subculture, straight edge or sober revolution that emerged in the 80s. It followers obtained from alcohol, tobacco, drugs, and some followers even obtained from sex, were vegetarians, vegans, and didn't consume caffeine or prescription drugs. So the name Straight Edge was taken from hardcore punk band Minor Threat's song, which was the same name, which was back in 1981. So since then, various beliefs and ideas have been associated with this movement, including vegetarianism and consideration of animal rights. And the first part of the name, raw, stands for, well, unprocessed. In ancient Greek, actually, raw represented the evolution of crops. So in some ways, Raw Edge, as the name and the company, stands for this kind of rebellious shift towards going back to the roots. Because we use fermentation, and fermentation in itself is nothing new. It has played a vital role in human civilization for at least 10,000 years, shaping the evolution, archaeology, and science as well. But the story of Raw Edge started as a very typical startup story ever does. Well, to scratch my own itch. So aside from my professional endeavors, I'm also a competitive athlete. So what I eat really matters. I noticed a gap in the market, which is seemingly overcrowded. I had a craving for this natural, low-calorie, delicious beverage that supports gut health, but doesn't have added sugar, and it would also really, really taste good. And really, honestly, everybody kept telling me that there's plenty of beverages and we don't need yet another. So I persisted because I believe that we need something completely different, something which is not hyper-palatable, which is not over-processed, something which is clean label, whole foods, and aren't engineered to create addiction. We eat and drink every day, but somehow our dietary preferences often take a backseat. Although poor diet kills more people globally than tobacco, consuming too much unhealthy foods, including sweetened beverages, accounts for 1 in every 5 deaths globally. So I think that the need for better foods that contribute to better human and planetary health is not only evident, but it's very urgent. There is 2.6 billion overweight and obese people in the world, including 1 in every child. Obesity has a major impact on national economies, reducing productivity and life expectancy and increasing disability and healthcare cost. The economic impact of overweight and obesity will exceed $4 trillion annually by 2035. So almost 80% of healthcare costs go to treatment of lifestyle diseases. So it's all preventable. So my hypothesis was and still is that more than ever, the consumer isn't looking for another sugar-filled products, but for something that tastes great, but also back health benefits and environmental credentials. So I think in many, many ways, we have met this demand head on by scientifically developing a new class of probiotic products. And we started with soft drinks. We valorized local raw ingredients using fermentation and only clinically tested bacteria, probiotic bacteria. Although the fermentation process has been extensively studied within the wine industry for centuries, the large-scale fermentation of vegetables, however, is a relatively new trend, which makes it actually very interesting for us. So what is a fermentation? It's a very natural process that breaks down sugars into beneficial and easily absorbable compounds. Fermentation with lactic acid bacteria allows us to reduce naturally occurring sugar. So from whether it's carrot or beetroot or berries, and it allows us to make them into absolute minimum and increase the content of valuable components that are very easily absorbable to our body. The bioactive components such as minerals, vitamins, fatty acids, amino acids, and other phytochemicals are synthesized during the fermentation, provide people with numerous health benefits like improved digestion, boosted immunity, better nutrient absorption, reduced inflammation. So it goes on and on. So I think our most important mission is to nudge people to make healthier choices, less sugar, less overprocessed, less hyperpalatable food. However, healthy food also has to be enjoyable, because if to make it a lifestyle change, it has to be something that you can stick with. If the food is too good, if the food is too healthy to be enjoyed, if you don't like it, if you don't taste it, then it's not really healthy. So what we do is we help people make these small swaps, replacing less healthy things that they regularly eat with equally delicious, healthier things, creating new habits that add up to big changes. Although it may seem like just another beverage, we've done everything differently, from what is inside to literally being Instagrammable as possible. So raw edge is not meant to be a niche product. We aim to be everywhere and for everyone. Someone once told us that the worst thing that you could possibly do is start fermenting. We did. It still is, but here we are. So raw edge is quite literally alive. That makes it complicated, but this also means that there's always so much unpredictability, and the production, from production to the can itself. So that actually means that we keep constantly learning and we keep changing all the time. But it also means that we have to educate our consumers and be in direct dialogue and extremely present. So this is very challenging for every new startup with a very small team. Sustainable food not only needs to be accessible, but also affordable. Can you imagine if we would pay more for those things that are good for us and less for those things that support our health and well-being? Unfortunately, it's quite the opposite, right? So today, our biggest cost is the raw material. We use real ingredients, supporting a well thought out food system to create minimal waste. We valorize end-of-life local raw ingredients such as carrots, beetroots, berries, and we extend the shelf life from 2 weeks to more than 6 months, as it turns out, and increase the nutritional value through fermentation, which means that we lower the sugar and the quality of the food becomes better. The use of local raw materials is nothing new, but they're often imported to a central location for production and then distribution. So from the point of view environmental protection, conscious and transparent action is actually very crucial. Local materials, production, avoiding unnecessary transport. So we knew we wanted to scale very differently than you would normally see in beverage industry or that kind of an industry. So what we do is that we want to use three-party franchise model, which ensures that our products are made by upcycled local raw ingredients in each market where we enter. So we empower local producers, distributors, and communities. And in cooperation with partners, the footprint of the product's life cycle can be gradually reduced by reducing negative environmental impacts, be it the use of renewable energy in production, efficient and water-saving equipment, or freight transport with minimal transportation footprint. So we are currently actually in the process of validating that business model in UK, where we have a very like-minded producer, and we're preparing for first test to aim to launch raw edge in UK market already this year. However, it's not all that simple, as it's rather common there to use vegetable juices made from Spanish carrots, and we aim for local ingredients. We're actually setting up an entire system to use local leftover carrots from retail, convert them into juices for fermentation. So a system is not in place, and that requires local businesses to change their current view of doing, but we want to implement that. So fingers crossed we're going to succeed with that. But it actually goes way beyond. It started with beverages, but it has since expanded to include a range of products. We use same technology, same upcycling, to develop basically everything from probiotic powders to gummy bears again for the easy and tasty swaps for people. Our primary focus in R&D is actually developing our own bacteria strains and navigating the process of clinical testing and patenting, which is rather long, rather expensive, and rather complicated. And second, in exploring sweet modulators, particularly sweet-tasting peptides and oligosaccharides. So in the future, it means we emphasize both product development and ingredient innovation, focusing more on personalized nutrition. What it means is that you get different bacteria strains your body needs from different products, which are always made from local ingredients, always clean label, and always good for you. So in all honesty, environment is an integral part of nutrition and health. If we focus only on nutrition and macronutrients without considering the food quality and environmental impacts, it will end up being pretty meaningless, as the planet is uninhabitable. Thus, addressing health and population level largely boils down to changing the entire food environment in a way that naturally moves to people towards higher quality food. And that's what we aim to do, one step at a time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mariliis. It was a really interesting presentation. And now we have time for the questions. Indrek raised hand, please. Open your microphone.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. Good presentation. I have one question. We heard from previous presentation also a hint towards that direction. We have numerous plant-based and healthy products. About the fermented drinks, I have tasted Ferla myself, which did taste very well, but I guess it's good for my gut. And all are playing in this shady area where they quite publicly publish the health claims, but then we know that you actually cannot claim this kind of stuff without very long and expensive clinical trials. So what is the real situation? Is somebody checking also this kind of claims? Is it just ignored that these claims are made by these similar producers, or what is the reality in this area? Thank you.
Okay, there are many questions. I will start from the beginning. I agree. There are a lot of products in the field, including Ferla. I really very much like Ferla, but Ferla is clearly for very specific target group. If you heard, I mentioned that if a food is too healthy to be enjoyed, it's not healthy. Because I've heard so many times that, I would like to switch to, more healthier, but I really like these candies and I really enjoy my soda and etc. And people kind of see that they have these guilty pleasures and then there's healthy food. But the idea is to put them together so you wouldn't have to feel guilt over having something which is tasty. And that's something that we've, trying to do. I think if you've tried raw edge, then it's definitely different. We've tried a lot of products in not only Estonian market, but everywhere. And most of the fermented products, I'm very sorry to say, but taste like crap. And not only crap, but if they're natural, if they're not natural, then they taste like they have this very synthetic taste. For example, and then we come to your other question. For example, there are many companies that have claims on the cans or bottles that they are not, they can't use by law, by EU laws. They can't say claim probiotic or prebiotic or whatever. They can't have those claims. For example, we've had a Latvian company who actually does kombucha, which is very different from what we do because it's a tea mushroom. I don't know if it's correct to say that. And it's a different kind of bacteria. And many cases, it doesn't contain lactic acid bacteria, but acid bacteria. But nevertheless, for example, it's a good example that they first of all claim that they have no sugar, but you need sugar to make kombucha, first of all. They also claim that they're probiotic, which you can't do. We don't claim that on the bottle. And another thing is that they had some other claim as well, but we actually tested them in Taltech because we are a Taltech spin-off and we can use those laboratories. And we tested, the first one was that there were no lactic acid bacteria. Lactic acid bacteria is the basis that you can even say that you have probiotic qualities. And the leftover sugar was more than 5 grams per 100 milliliters, which is quite a lot, which is comparable to a juice. And you see them a lot. There isn't a official power to check them all, but at the same time, you compete against those marketing bullocks. We have been checked by authorities many times because there have been people who have reported us, but everything was okay. So which means that you fight against those marketing things all the time, and it's super complicated because when you want to do everything by the book, it's going to be quite challenging at the end of the day. Yeah, but what separates us from many other companies is that the bacteria strain that we use is actually clinically tested, and it's actually patented. It's a BioCC bacteria strain.
Does it mean that if you claim that you are good for the gut, then you are in okay? You are allowed to say that. It's not health. It's health claim, but as your bacteria is clinically tested, then you are allowed to say that. Is it right?
You can say those things which are actually in the patent. You can say those things, and it has. It means that it actually, what the clinical trials say, that the bacteria actually reaches your gut, which means that it goes through the barrier of the stomach acid environment, or how do you say that? But yeah, it's very complicated what you can say and what you can't say, and there are very strict limitations to what you can put in a bottle and what you can't put in a bottle. So one thing is how you talk to people and how you make yourself heard and understood, but the other thing is what you can actually claim on the bottle, where the consumer makes the purchase decision.
Thank you.
So we have one question from the chat as well, from Eva, from PO region. And the question is, do you get the carbonization from the fermentation, or do you need to add CO2 in order to get the fizzy drink?
Yeah, we add CO2 during the process. Of course, when the bacteria is inside the bottle, it creates some organic acids, but it's not as frizzy as it is when you open the drink. One thing actually what I liked and what I would like to emphasize here as you are considering to enter that field is that I think that what I agree with Reelika very much is that the food in general is in a very early stages, I think, to be recognized as a serious field of business. What I mean is that I often get this feeling in a startup scenery that it's not on the mindset of people. It's what I said also, that when we talk about food, it's kind of like we eat every day, but we don't think about it. But at the same time, it has such a severe impact, not only on human health, but also on planetary health. So I think it's actually increasingly popular. And also when you talk about funding, one of the key elements now is how to get the science from universities to the market. One thing. Then for first NYPs, it's very easy to get funding from EIS, like innovation vouchers and stuff like that. And also, I think increasingly VCs are recognizing the importance of the field. So I encourage all to enter that. And I think that it's fascinating what you can do.
Do we have more questions?
Yeah, hi. I think your presentation was kind of 3 minutes. But in any case, how do you find the marketing aspect of such products in Estonia and abroad?
I think the marketing has been interesting because I've been in communications and marketing for a long time, and I see so many lies in the market, and we've made that deal with Kristel, who is my co-founder, and she's also a scientist in Taltech. We made a promise to ourselves that we're always transparent. We don't lie to people. For example, I'm going to make you a very simple example on the marketing side. We have a product with a beetroot and blackcurrant juice. And the problem with that is because there is a little more juice and a little more sugar, the bacteria has more to eat, which means that it kind of creates more this organic acid there. So which means that when it's not pasteurized, it's sometimes you open the can, and we are used to, as consumers, we're used to opening the can like psst, and done, because you can do that so with every product out there. But the problem is that it wants to come out sometimes sooner than you want it to come out, which means that it may like explode. So now how do you explain that to consumers? Or will you take that product away from the market because the consumer is not used to anymore, because we even pasteurize the beer, because it used to happen with the beer. So we decided from the marketing point of view that we're going to be honest, we're going to make a little, not even laugh, but we're going to like joke around it, that, they want to come out, I'm alive. So, we always change those messages to be as simple to understand and as transparent as we can possibly be. So I think that it's a learning journey. I've never done this before, so we will see how that goes. But I think it will be a little bit easier in UK, because many things that are forbidden to say, even the health claims in EU, the UK is a bit more, they're more easygoing in that sense.
But do you feel that people need a lot of convincing to even try this new thing, or do you feel that actually once people find out about it, it goes down quite rapidly?
It's been interesting, as I said in the presentation, which I thought was way longer than 3 minutes, but but nevertheless, I've been heard it so many times that there are so many drinks, people don't need another drink, etc. And at first, it started with all these energy drinks and the 0-calorie drinks, and I just wanted something better. And I thought that the main consumer would be around 20 to up to 30, but I've changed my opinion on that. I think that the main consumer is actually 30 plus, someone who understands that the body doesn't forgive you for anything that you do. So what you put into your body actually matters, and your body actually tells you that when it's not good. And it's a very big hit on the parents, because you want your kid to do something better. No parent wants their kid to consume Red Bull or Coca-Cola or something with high caffeine and taurine and everything artificial in it. But yeah, I think that it's not about convincing, but it's about explaining, because it's different, and you have to tell that story again and again and again and again. Why are you doing this? What are you using? For example, even in UK, there isn't any products which is good tasting and which is like a soft drink, but it's used from actual vegetables. So if you put those things together in people's mind, it's like, oh my God, it's carrot juice, come on. But if you taste it, then it's a soda. It's a soft drink.
Good, thank you. Quite inspiring. I need to try this product.
Right. Let me know what you think.
I have a question as well. How easy is to do collaboration with our local producers?
You mean in UK or here?
In Estonia, yeah.
I think it's easier elsewhere. because here the interesting part was actually how to find where to produce, because we use lactic acid bacteria, and when you go to beer producers, they are like you're like a Satan, because you have different kind of bacteria, and the risk of contamination is really, really high for us and for them. So nobody wants different kind of bacteria in the production. But we do have a partner here in Estonia, and ideally we could and we should, based on the franchise model, we could actually work together with Katarpikku, because we get our juices from Katarpikku, which is something that we want to do, and they have all the distribution line. But we've done a little differently in Estonia, so that's why we want to test it out in UK, and it seems that in each market it's going to be a little different, because you have different companies, they have different interests and opportunities. So going to be interesting.
Okay. And how do you find the different flavors as well? Have you ever considered to put tomato on your juice as well?
Well, Bloody Mary is an interesting idea, but I think why we chose carrot juice as a basis, because it's almost 22% juice, and then we dilute it with water, is that it tastes good. The most important thing is still the taste, and it sounds very easy, and we've heard this many times, like, why don't you patent? But if we patent, then we make it public, so all the know-how should be there out there. But I think it's been almost 2 years of development of which kind of bacteria works well with what kind of juice, what can you add, what kind of bacteria is produced, how many antioxidants, how many vitamins. So it's a very complicated process. And I think the flavors come from, us tasting a lot of stuff during that process.
Perfect. And there is a last comment from chat as well, that Eva tried the raw age in Tartu Startup Days, and she really liked it, and she can't wait until it reaches Sweden. So
that's great. I'm glad to hear that.
Okay, thank you so much, Mariliis. So we can continue with our agenda, thumb rolls. The start of today's launch webinar, the Võiste Greenhouse, Mirko will share about the challenge and more deeply about the company.
So thank you. I will clear my throat and start sharing in a second. So. Can everybody see?
Yes, we can see your slides.
Excellent. First of all, my name is Mirko Metsaoru, and I would like to thank you for inviting me, our company, to that kind of excellent way to talk about the problems that we're facing in our industry, not only in our country, in Estonia, but I think the overall industries in producing vegetables mainly are facing the same issues. So we are a small vegetable growing company. We are located in Estonia, in West Estonia near Pärnu, and we are growing in a world scale. We are growing in a very small greenhouses. We have less than 1 hectare. Precisely, it's around 7,000 square meters of greenhouses that we are growing tomatoes in. When I'm saying that it's relatively small compared to the other countries, then if you go to the Netherlands, the greenhouses start in 10 hectares. So compared to that, we are small, but in Estonia, we are one of the largest tomato producers, and also I think one of the largest producers in a covered area in greenhouses. What we are aiming to do, what we are doing at the moment is we want to be small but smart, because of all the production costs have increased considerably during the years, especially during 2-3 years. So what we have to do is we have to invest more to the automation and to be more precise with fertilization, giving water, heating the greenhouses, and etc. And what we want to do is that grow more in a less area and using less inputs like fertilizers and water and etc. Our greenhouses were first built in 1960s in very deep Soviet times. And after Estonia gained its independence, two brothers founded the company Võiste Hackathon. It is, I think it was something around 94, 95 when the company was first was made. And in 2004, one of the brothers and my father, Metsaoru, took over the greenhouse business because, as you know, it's not very easy for two brothers to be in the same business. So it was wiser to do them separately. And my father took over the greenhouses. So I have been involved in greenhouse business basically my whole life. From the first years, I've been with my father in the greenhouses. And when I was around 18, I thought that greenhouses are not for me. I went to the city of Tallinn. I studied law. I wanted to be a lawyer. But as I was in Tallinn, I saw that being in a countryside and with greenhouses was quite good. So I came back for a summer just to help my parents in a greenhouses, and I saw so many opportunities. What can be done better in the greenhouse, especially as I'm also very fond of automation and stuff like this. So in the first summer, I automated some of the processes in the greenhouses, and we all saw that this gave quite a lot of impact to the growth of the plants and the yield. So it basically took my hand, and from there I've been dealing with the greenhouses I think now for 15 years or something like this. At first we have in greenhouses, when my father took over, we have been growing different things. At first we grew roses and cucumbers mainly. We also have grown different pot plants. Also we have tried greenhouse potatoes and even green onions to grow, but they were not very good as a financial side, because the input was higher than the outcome of the sales price. So it didn't make sense to do it that way in a heated high-tech greenhouse. So for cucumbers, it was also quite good, but in Estonia there are many bigger cucumber growers like Grüne and Peipsi Giant, and the competition is much higher. And also with cucumbers, the labor impact of the growth is quite high, because the cucumber, when grown right, it grows with very fast speed. So you have to be double of workers on a site compared to the, let's say, tomatoes. So it was very hard to find workers to the greenhouses. So we tried also growing tomatoes. We grew them together for years, but we saw that you have to focus on one crop to be more efficient, to be better on it. So we chose the tomatoes because we have found some varieties that suited for us, suited for our greenhouses. And for at least 8 years, we have been now growing solely tomatoes. We have been mainly growing beef tomatoes, over 100 gram tomatoes, and different varieties and different colors. And this is the main competitive advantage of us. So we are growing yellow, pink, and red tomatoes, and you can mix them in a salads or so. So this is our main thing that we are doing. And other growers in Estonia, bigger growers, mainly grow red tomatoes or smaller tomatoes or cocktail tomatoes, because they are agronomically easier to grow. And this is the one thing that why we are growing tomatoes. As I told, that the better result is too reasonable to focus on one crop. Also, it's very hard growing different crops in one greenhouse. There are many issues with pollination, like with the tomato and cucumber. Tomato needs additional pollination, cucumber usually doesn't. And if you are cross-pollinating them, you can get curvy cucumbers. So it's not very good thing, and hard, and to keep the pollinators, bumblebees, away from the cucumber is quite hard, because the cucumber is much more attractive to the bumblebee than the tomato. Then we saw quite big issues with it, and also cucumber is less resistant to different diseases. Mainly tomato is more resistant. No, it depends, but also they are a little bit easier to control with the biological plant protections that we are using at the moment. And also, as I told before, we are growing hard varieties that are a little bit harder to grow, especially in agronomical aspects. And this gives us a competitive advantage, especially in the Estonian market. And we sell all our products in Estonian market because it is not reasonable to go to export outside. All the markets are basically filled and overflowing with tomatoes. If you go to Finland or if you go to Latvia, so we solely rely on local market, and we try to be as competitive as possible in our market. And what we do for that is we try to focus on short supply chain. This gives our tomatoes freshness and also reduce carbon footprints. And it's a very important aspect nowadays, because all the freshness of the vegetables comes from the chain of the supply. So the shorter the supply chain, the fresher is the tomato, and the more nutrients and vitamins are inside of the vegetables. So our tomatoes, and our aim is to reach the store shelves after 1 or 2 days after picking. And this helps to preserve the taste of the tomato. And it's a good tip if you are growing tomatoes or buying tomatoes, is not to keep the tomatoes in a refrigerator, and not to cool down the tomatoes, because they lose quite a lot of taste while doing that. And this is one issue for us also, because many retailers keep our production inside of refrigerators and cool them down to 2 or 3 degrees. And we are dealing with it. We are trying to spare the knowledge to the retailers also, to keep the freshness and the looks of our tomatoes much better. What is our mission? As I told before, is to keep the logistic chain as short as possible, is to ensure the main competitive advantage against foreign suppliers. Also, what is big mission, especially for me, is to use biologicals against different diseases. So we have been doing this for I think 4 to 5 years now. We haven't used any chemical against whatever diseases in the greenhouses we can face. So this is one thing that I'm really keen of and really passionate about, to keep our tomatoes as clean as possible. And also what we are doing every year, a little more and more, is invest in the technologies that help us to grow and increase our yield using less resources for it. As we know that all the resources for the growing process involves fertilizers, water, plants itself, heating the greenhouse, and etc. is very expensive. So if you can use an automation to do simple processes that help us to reduce this cost, then we are again more competitive in our market. What is the main challenge? As you know, greenhouse plants, including tomatoes, generate quite a lot of biomass, and only a fraction, basically only marketing, only tomatoes can be marketed. Other things usually go to the bio-waste. They are including roots, leaves, stems, also non-standard tomatoes that cannot go to the retailers. What we do with them is just we treat it as a waste on our local premises. Basically, they are just a biomass for us. And the Võiste Greenhouse is we are disposing quite a lot of biomass. It can be even 50 tons per year. So the non-standard tomatoes of those can be in some years even 10 tons of tomatoes that cannot be done nothing. We have used them for some companies in Estonia have been buying those from us to make tomato juices, but currently there are not so many companies left that are doing it at the moment. There are, but as we can supply them only in a short period, not all the year, and this faces issues for the producers, and they cannot keep them for 6 or 7 months just to buy them ahead. So this is one issue with making juices from tomato. Also, as you see from the picture, if in the end life cycle of the plant, there is also quite a lot of biomass that needs to be it cannot be valorized at the moment. And what we do is just make it as a biomass on our premises, and basically at the moment we don't do anything from this biomass. And as I taught in the first sentences, it's a global challenge. It's not a challenge only for us. It's a challenge all over the Europe, all over the world for the vegetable growers, not only in greenhouses, but also open field growers, what to do with this biomass that cannot be sold. And this amount of this biomass can be quite high, but there are issues how to is it financially reasonable to do with it, to do something with the biomass? And this is the thing that is at the moment the main issue for many growers is the financial side. It's not reasonable to do something from the biomass. It's much cheaper to just let it go. So this is the one issue we want to fight against, and this is very good hackathon to do it. So there are many things that can be, as a forward speaker also mentioned, there are so many things that you can do, obtain from the biomass. There are salts for fertilizers, you can organic matter for the growing medium, you can fiber for packaging, proteins, and etc. There are so many things you can do, but is it feasible? Is it financially reasonable to do? And this is the one main goal of this hackathon also, to see what kind of good ideas can come from it and how it's doable. Because what we are looking for from this hackathon is technologies and solutions and partnerships to turn our residual biomass into valuable resources. And also what we are very much looking for is discovering new business opportunities and establishing partnerships. But as I mentioned before, it has to be economically feasible and environmentally sustainable. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to do it. Of course, on our case, on-site realization is preferred because it's very hard to transport to, and also it's not economically reasonable to transport the biomass, let's say 200-300 kilometers. It doesn't make sense because the quantity of biomass is not so big. It's not 500 or 1,000 tons. So this is one thing that we are looking for to see is how can realize this biomass on site. And of course, evaluation is based on, at first, main is innovative, how innovative it is. Secondly, what is the economical viability and how it's doable technology? What are the investments have to be done, and what are the regulations of what kind of legal regulations we have to face if we are using your ideas. From our side, we can offer. It depends. So we offer quite a lot of support. If you have some kind of good idea, we can offer support and of course discussion how it's doable, if it's doable, and with you we can find out the best solutions, what can be done not only in our greenhouses but maybe in the world, or whatever ideas come from it. So we are very looking forward for all of your ideas, and working together with all the partners that might come from this project. And I think I've said the main things that come to my mind, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mirko, for your presentation. Now it's time to ask questions. Just open your microphone or write it on the chat.
I have one question, which maybe a bit more is to Mariliis. Mariliis, do you think you could use the 7 tons of Mirko's tomatoes?
We haven't tried the tomato fermentation yet, but never say never.
Never say never. You can always do that.
Absolutely. Great idea, though.
We have quite a lot of tomatoes to use.
We should try.
Any more questions?
Who says that this tomato is standard and this is non-standard, that you can't sell it?
It depends. If there are some kind of cracks or some kind of spots on tomato, then it's easy. But also sometimes there is size and weight of the tomato. If you are selling is at the beef tomato, there is it's supposed to be over 100 grams at least. It's better if it's 150 grams or even more. But if it's smaller, then the retail companies can say that it's not a beef tomato. So this is one thing we have to separate all the time, smaller and bigger tomatoes. And what we do is that we take away the small tomatoes if they're green. So if we see that we have in the cluster, we have 3 or 4 tomatoes. So this is, then they will grow to the size needed. And additional 4, 5, 6 will be taken away when they're small from the cluster. So is that what we do? Because the weight and the price of the small tomato is considerably lower.
Okay, very interesting. Do we have more questions? I had one in my mind, but I forgot.
You can ask it later.
Okay, thank you so much, Mirko, for your presentation. And now we can follow with Aalto from Jyväskylä University of Applied Science. And she's the project lead for BioBooster.
Okay, thank you. So greetings from Central Finland, from Jyväskylä and YAMK University of Applied Sciences. I'm happy to be here as a part of this launch for a very interesting challenge, and I'm just going to tell a little bit about the project making this possible, and also about the hackathon process and the concept we have, how we are starting to work on this challenge presented by Võiste. So BioBoosters is both the name of our business accelerator in the Institute of Bioeconomy and the name of the project. So BioBoosters Boosting Circular Transition is the Interreg Baltic Sea region project where we are taking our BioBoosters hackathon model to the to the bioeconomy innovation hub community across the Baltic Sea region. Let's see, okay. And during this project, we are implementing 18 business-driven hackathons that are dealing with these circular transition challenges from bioeconomy sectors. The hackathons will find solutions for these challenges presented by the companies, and we will be able to validate up to 70 different solution ideas and initiate about 20 research, development and innovation partnerships and business partnerships. Overall, we bring together at least 500 specialists around the Baltic Sea region to drive this circular transition of bioeconomy sectors forward. We have 9 partners from representing Sweden, Finland, Germany, Poland, and the Baltic countries, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. And we are all focused in bioeconomy innovations, but we have different sectoral highlights, I would say. So some of us are more focused on forest bioeconomy, wood innovations, and some of us more in agri-tech and food innovations. So we are able to provide this cross-sectoral know-how to help each other's innovation challenges and to find suitable solution providers from our networks. So all of us have good networks in research and also business sectors in bioeconomy, and also different connected fields to provide, for instance, digitalization support. And the hackathon model we are implementing in this project and that we are working on together is initially piloted in our BioBoosters by YAMK business accelerator. And we, before starting this project here, have implemented hackathons with 15 companies to solve different type of sustainability challenges. And the success has been good. We have found partners, found solutions for the challenges of all of the companies we have worked with. We have been working on cases related to replacing non-renewable materials with bio-based materials. We have been working with cases of identifying business cases and value for side streams and recycling nutrients, for instance, from different waste flows. We have worked on digitalization and business models for a bioeconomy sector, and overall boosted the sustainability of the operations for several companies. And the service path or the open innovation process that we have designed with our clients and now perfected with our network support looks like this. So it all starts with the need of our client. We have a company that has a challenge that they would like to solve, but they need to get new ideas and partners to get expertise not available in-house, but something maybe from another field or something that's still in a development stage. So we work with the client to formulate the challenge, to define what is the need of the client, what kind of cooperation they are looking for, and what kind of proposal they can make for these potential solution provider companies or research teams or innovators. We set the timelines, we set the evaluation criteria, we formulate the whole process together with the client, and then we are ready to launch the open call. So this is what we are doing here today. We are launching the open call for Võiste Hackathon, and now we start a very intensive marketing and communication period where we try to attract teams via our networks, via our contacts, also via just shouting from the rooftops and trying to get the message out there in as many channels as possible. So this is a very exciting time when we are trying to connect with different innovators and innovative ideas, and learning about the challenge as we go along. And in this case, for instance, just doing our research on what tomatoes can do and what we can do with this biomass from the greenhouse. And in the end of the call, we have typically around maybe 10 applications. In our previous hackathons here, we have had even close to 20. And from this selection of very different types of ideas, the client, our challenge provider, is able to select who do they see as interesting potential partners for future cooperation, and what ideas they see that they would like to explore further and get more information on. So now we invite the selected teams to a kickoff event, which is typically online. And there the teams are able to present their idea, present themselves for the client and for mentors. And mentors come from different organizations connected to the thematic topic or connected to business development opportunities, innovation support opportunities. So they are able to help the team in designing their solution, designing their cooperation proposal for the client, for the challenge provider. And the kickoff is important as it allows the teams to share their idea and get the feedback, and also it's a possibility to ask more from the challenge provider, and we can agree on what kind of additional information will be provided for these selected teams. Usually we work with the non-disclosure agreement starting from the kickoff, so then the teams can be safe that their ideas will stay with them and they have the ownership of their intellectual property. Kickoff will start our co-working on a digital platform where we are able to share more ideas and feedback to develop the solution proposals further. And finally, the hackathon days will allow the final upgrading of the solution proposals and the cooperation proposals via mentoring. And in the end, we have a pitching session where the teams will share their cooperation proposal to the jury, so our client, and then the client will select the winner or winners, so the teams that they want to start a cooperation with. It's about a 10-week process, depending on the set dates and so forth, but this has been proven as a good approach to allow for developing the ideas and connecting with potential partners. Sometimes we see that the teams will join together. Sometimes we see that the mentors and the teams will join together, and in the end we'll get better and more targeted cooperation proposals for our challenge provider. So exciting to share our results from the first 4 network hackathons that we did this last autumn. So in JAMK University of Applied Sciences and in Paper Province Sweden, Biofuel region Sweden, and in Vitseme Planning region Latvia, we started with the first pilot round, and we were able to get a total of 58 applicants and engage 20 mentor organizations to these 4 hackathons and had very exciting outcomes. Our challenge providers were generally very happy. We got good solutions for them, and all of the companies stated that they would organize another hackathon with us quite soon as well. And solution provider teams were also pleased with the results and felt that it was a good opportunity for them to find new business opportunities and clients and to enter into a dialogue with the larger company. And they gained a lot of relevant know-how through the mentoring, and would also, with a high percentage, participate in another hackathon challenge in the future. Our mentors and organizers are also have also been pleased with the process. All of the organizers would happily continue, and there was a good impact made to supporting the bioeconomy sector growth and green transition in the Baltic Sea region, according to our respondents. And the important part, what was launched and started at the hackathon. In Holmen hackathon, there was a cooperation starting with the Biocompost, who is able to incorporate the wood ash from Holmen processes into their own composting process for improved fertilizer effect. Happy client, happy team, and a good outcome to both businesses. In Finland, with Valio Hackathon, we got a Swedish winner, so international cooperation starting, and Elvenite was able to propose a good solution for Valio to get to the root causes of seasonal variation in milk production by utilizing data from dairy farms and an AI model to find out what are the actual causes behind this phenomenon. In the Latvian Alojas Hackathon, we got an online winner from Finland. So digital participation is also possible in our hackathons, although we do prefer on-site participation. But a good solution for computerized maintenance management needs of Alojas Starkelsen was identified in this hackathon. And finally, we run another hackathon in Sweden, Muelven Hackathon, and there we got the new packaging solution to replace this fossil-based plastic packaging. And the winner was Billerud. So you can see the winner solution also in the picture. And now we are in the process of marketing 5 hackathons. We have an open call now for finding replacing solution for the single-use carpets at the Trade Fair Center in Poland, so Tarkikielce Hackathon. We are also in 2 weeks' time about closing another call for Kosum Beet Hackathon, where we are transforming sugar beet residues from waste to value. Fipenal Hackathon is launching tomorrow, where we find ways to use wood-based sugars in the food system. And Nando Hackathon is tackling the issue of over-fertilization by identification of innovative solutions, and that will start next week. So a lot of communication going on, and of course, Voiste is part of this hackathons of the spring, and their call will then close on the 22nd of March. So about a little bit more than 1 month to apply now. And everything you can always find from our LinkedIn, the latest calls, and also then later the results. If any questions, I would be happy to answer.
Do we have any questions? Thank you so much, Anna. Do we have any questions? And please, people, don't leave at the moment. We have one surprise as well at the end. So, but feel free to ask questions from Anna first. We are really happy to be part of this amazing project as well, and we are really hoping that we will find the best solution for Võiste. So thank you so much. And as you can hear, we have 4 amazing hackathons organized this spring, and international collaboration is really important as well. And I'm really happy to give the microphone to Aare Raev, who is the CEO of Tamiatics, and they were part of our business incubator as well. So they can have a 3-minute pitch about their company and what they're offering.
Yes, hello. Really nice to meet you all and see you all in online. My name is Aare. As Thomas says, I'm a CEO of Tamiatics. And actually, Tamiatics, we can say it's a spin-off from Võiste Island. So I'm sharing my screen right now. So what was the problem? Not only the Võiste Island, but all the greenhouses is usually that in every day you need to set up the daily automatization, how to irrigate. And in the simple words, usually it's better to have give the plants more water than less water, and this will come to this end that actually there is a lot of overwatering. And if we are talking about the watering or irrigation in the greenhouses, usually this means not only waste of water, but also waste of fertilizer and also waste of energy, because you need to clean the water, heat the water, mix the water with the fertilizer, and so on and so on. What actually Võiste Island has been done, and as Mirko showed you the presentation, they have put a lot of emphasis of automatization and data-driven decisions, and this leads to this way that actually the precise irrigation of the Võiste Island, they save nearly 30% of the water and fertilizer, while in the same time increase the yield around 15 to 20%. So as Mirko says before, less input and more yield. This is what all the greenhouse growers and greenhouse owners actually is looking for. And this gives Mirko idea that maybe there are other companies also who are looking better solutions, how to decrease the water and decrease the costs, and how to increase the yield. And this was the, let's say, this first point of our company, because we looked at the European markets. We saw there are a lot of vegetable growers. We saw that there are over 200,000 farms who grow vegetables in a greenhouse in 600 hectares. And what we saw that 77% of them are SMEs, small and medium-sized businesses that grows over up to 5 hectares. The greenhouses are up to 5 hectares. And this, we saw the need because smaller growers, what is the problem is that smaller growers and smaller greenhouses, they don't have this high-tech automatization. This means that they need to use a lot of input to get the better yield, and they are competing with the bigger greenhouses who has full automatization, and this is But one of the aim is to also support one of the EU goals, farm to fork. This means we want to keep smaller greenhouses, smaller producers competitive, and that leads to the Tamiatics. We are a software company actually, and we are developing software for greenhouses. And what was our vision? We came together is to replace the agronomist's daily task to set up and monitor the automatization and use our data analysis and machine learning models. And our main aim is to increase the yield, decrease the water input, and our vision is to be one step closer to the autonomous greenhouse. So what we have developed is the solution where we gather information from the greenhouse sensors, and our platform right now is offering recommendation how you should set up your daily automation for irrigation. And we use all the information what we get out of greenhouse. Also, we use next day weather prediction to do the data analysis. So basically, we are using third-party sensors, and we have our own cloud application. So where we are now, and what we have done now is that we have step one. We have start to step one step further, and together with Latvian University of Life Science and Technology, we are going to the recommendation up to autonomous automatization. This means that starting actually next month, we start to test autonomous irrigation using only the data and machine learning models. So basically, the agronomist just set up the automatization, the sensors, and our system will do the everyday irrigation decisions. And this is one thing what we start to test next month. So this is our team. We have a lot of course, Mirko has a main knowledge of from agronomic side, and we have software developers, machine learning developers, and so on and so on. So this was the small presentation. If you have any question, then please be free to ask.
Thank you so much, Aare. It was really good and really quick pitch about
yeah, I know it's the end of the webinar, so I try to do our best. So basically what happened is that I can say, Mirko cannot say, but I can say Võiste is the most automated and digitalized greenhouse in Estonia at least, but I say in Baltics. So this is one really good and nice opportunity to go working with the Võiste Greenhouse. This is also our test base beside the Latvian University. So.
Okay, perfect. I can see a little bit like a good fit for Nando's hackathon. They are finding a solution for over-fertilization, so maybe you can help them as well.
Yeah, we can see what we can do.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we are a little bit over time as well, so we can conclude our launch webinar. So now we will start the campaign and find the best solutions. And yeah, thank you all speakers for today and all the participants. And hope to see you soon. Have a nice day.